What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. Today, we're going to talk about all 33 full-time NASCAR Cup Series drivers heading into the 2023 season, and I'm going to tell you who I think and where I think they will all finish in the points in 2023. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. The driver who I think will finish 33rd in the NASCAR Cup Series points is a driver to 77 for Spire Motorsports, Ty Dillon. Ty Dillon's leaving Petty GMS Motorsports to join Spire Motorsports. Ty Dillon is a driver that's not always known to get the best out of equipment. He tends to run where the equipment runs. And when you look at Spire Motorsports historically, Spire Motorsports, no disrespect to Spire, but they're a back marker organization. So I'm not expecting much from Ty Dillon going into the season. Now, I think that Ty Dillon will get one or two top 10s this season, and I think he'll get around 6 or 7 top 10s into top 20s in 2023. But the 77 car struggled last year in this past year, and I sadly think that Ty Dillon is going to struggle in 2023. So I'm not expecting a big year from Ty Dillon, and I think he finishes 33rd in points. The driver I think will finish 32nd in the NASCAR Cup Series points is Ty Dillon's teammate, Corey LaJoie. Corey LaJoie will be driving, of course, the number 7 for Spire Motorsports. I think Corey will be the better of the two drivers at Spire Motorsports in 2023. But Spire Motorsports, I'm not expecting major things to go for the team. Corey LaJoie kind of struggled in 2022. Spire's just a team that hasn't shown the reliability and the pace to be up front. But I do think Corey LaJoie will get at least 3 or 4 top 10s in 2023. But I think for most of the year, he's going to be running outside the top 20. Or just a team that hasn't shown the reliability and the pace and speed, and I'm not expecting much from Corey LaJoie going into 2023, sadly. I think he'll be up front of Super Speedway. He's been an underdog for the Super Speedway races and maybe some other races where occasionally he'll run good. He'll just sometimes have some really good runs at different types of tracks. But sadly, I'm not expecting Corey LaJoie to have a great year. I think he finishes 32nd in the NASCAR Cup Series points. The driver I think will finish 31st in the NASCAR Cup Series points in 2023 is a driver number 38 for Farmer Motorsports, Todd Gillen. Now, some people think Todd Gillen is really going to improve in 2023, and I think he'll improve just a little bit. Here's the problem. Todd Gillen is a very, very young driver, and he's going to have an inexperienced crew chief, because I believe that Ryan Burgundy has never crew chief in the NASCAR Cup Series before. He's been the engineer and the car chief for Michael McDowell for the last few seasons. So I think that is going to affect Todd Gillen going into the 2023 season. Now, I do think that Todd Gillen is going to be fast on the road courses. He generally has been historically really good at the road courses throughout his career. And I also think he'll be good at the super speedways. But for most of the year, I expect him to run outside the top 20, especially with how competitive the field has been this last year and how much work I think the field is going to be in 2023. I sadly think Todd Gillen does not finish in the top 30 points. Now, I think at times he'll be contending for top 25 and top 26 of points, especially at the beginning of the year. But sadly, I think Todd Gillen is going to struggle, and I think he finishes 31st in points in 2023. The driver I think will finish 30th in the NASCAR Cup Series points in 2023 is a driver, the 21 for the Wood Brothers, Harrison Burton. Now, despite where I have Harrison Burton finishing 30th in the points, I think Harrison Burton will show a little bit of signs of improvement at points in 2023. Harrison Burton, I believe, got 2 top 10s with the Wood Brothers, and I know a lot of people think that he may struggle. I think he'll have some good moments in 2023. However, Harrison Burton is a very young driver, and he's a major project for the Wood Brothers organization. I think he'll have 1 more top 10 than he had in 2022, where he scored 2. I think he has 3 top 10s in 2023. But for the most part, I think that Harrison Burton is going to have a lot of growing pains going into this upcoming season, in his sophomore season, and I think he's going to have some times where he will struggle, but I think he will show some slight improvement in 2023. But we'll have to wait and see what happens, but I think he finishes 30th in points. The driver I think will finish 29th in the NASCAR Cup Series points in 2023 is a driver of the 47 car for JTG Doherty Racing, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Now, don't get me wrong. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I think is a very talented driver. The problem with Ricky is he's never completely shown it in the past in the Cup Series. And JTG Doherty, they're not the fastest organization in the world. They kind of struggled in 2022, and I'm not expecting them to really improve in 2023. Now, they are committed to Stenhouse for the long haul, at least for the next 2 years, which is really great to see. But my problem with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is he really hasn't shown what he's capable of driving for JC Doherty, except for he had some top 10s. I think he will get 5 or 6 top 10s next year, but for most of the year, I think he's going to struggle. I think he'll also clean up a little bit on the DNFs going into 2023. But sadly, I think Stenhouse will be near the bottom of the points most of the year. Sometimes he's been close to making the playoffs, but I feel like in 2023, he is going to be near the bottom of the list, and I think he finishes 29th in points. The driver who I think is going to finish 28th in the NASCAR Cup Series points in 2023 is a driver of the 10 car for Stewart-Haas Racing, Aric Almirola. This one might be a hot take, but there's a reason why I have Aric Almirola finishing near the bottom of the list. I think Aric Almirola is a very talented driver. But here's the problem. I think Aric Almirola and this 10 team are going to have a little bit of a down step year, and they're going to struggle a little bit more than they have in the past. I think this year, in 2022, they were about a 23rd place team in the 2022 season. In 2023, I think he's going to be more of a mid-pack to back-of-the-pack driver, where I think he'll have a lot of good runs next year, well, some good runs next year, but with how competitive the field is going to be in 2023, you can't run 15th and 20th if you're going to be up front. You're going to have to compete a lot more. And sadly, I think Aric Almirola is going to have some struggles in the 2023 season. So sadly, I think Aric Almirola finishes 28th and struggles a little bit in the 2023 season. It also might be his last year in the Cup Series. The driver who I think is going to finish 27th in the NASCAR Cup Series points in 2023 is a new driver, the 42 car for Petty GMS Motorsports, Noah Gragson. Noah Gragson drove part-time in the Cup Series this past year, and honestly, he kind of struggled a little bit in his select starts. Also, yes, he did really great in the Xfinity Series, and he will have Luke Lambert as a crew chief. Here's the thing. I'm very worried about Noah Gragson in the Cup Series, at least as a full-time rookie. He's going to be really, really aggressive, and I think Noah Gragson is going to make quite a few mistakes as a rookie in the Cup Series in the 2023 season. I just think when you're a rookie and you're young like Noah Gragson is, granted, he's had a lot of Cup Series experience at this point, nearly ran half a season, and he did have some good runs drive for Hendrick, substituting for Alex Bowman. But sadly, I think Noah Gragson is going to have some struggles. I do think that he'll run better than what Ty Dillon did in this car, and he may surprise and have a couple shots to win, but I think for most of the year, Noah Gragson is going to be a mid-pack driver. I don't think he's going to be a back-of-pack driver, but I think he finished 27th points just due to not having the consistency, and I think he has a little bit of lack of consistency in the 2023 season. The driver I think will finish 26th in the NASCAR Cup Series points is a driver of the number 34 car for Front Row Motorsports, Michael McDowell. Michael McDowell the last years has really improved and has done really good. The reason, though, I have Michael McDowell kind of being near the mid to the bottom pack of 2023 is because of his crew chief change. He's not going to have Blake Harris in 2023. He's going to have Travis Peterson. Travis Peterson has a little bit of crew chiefing experience, but not as much crew chief experience as you're going to need to show improvement. Don't get me wrong, Michael McDowell has really been impressive, like I said, these last 2 years. I sadly think, though, going into 2023, I think McDowell is going to have a little bit of a step back. Now, I think McDowell will have a lot of top 10s this upcoming season, where I think he'll get like 8 or 9 top 10s, but I think he's going to be very inconsistent throughout the year and struggle with points throughout the season. So I think, sadly, in the 2023 season, Michael McDowell struggles a little bit, but I think he'll have some good runs, but I think he finishes near the bottom of the pack, finishing 26th in the points in 2023. The driver I think will finish 25th in the NASCAR Cup Series points in 2023 is a driver to 31 car for Kaulig Racing, Justin Haley. Justin Haley in 2022 had some really, really good runs in that number 31 car and had some awesome finishes. Here's the thing about Justin Haley, though. Justin Haley can always either run up front or struggle at points or run near the middle of the pack. I'm not expecting Justin Haley to struggle, but I think Justin Haley just not going to really take that next step forward. And some people think he's going to take that next step forward because AJ Allmendinger is driving for the team full-time, and we're expecting him to have a great season, that being AJ. Justin Haley, I think, will have a couple top 5s next year and some occasional top 10s, but I think he's going to be running most year around that 11th to 20th range, and that's not going to be enough to cut it to make the playoffs. But I do think we'll see Justin Haley have some good runs next year. I think he will have some very, very solid runs and will do as good as he can. But I expect Justin Haley to have a little bit of struggles going to 2023, and I think he will finish 25th in points in 2023. He hopes to improve, but I think he finishes 25th in the NASCAR Cup Series points in 2023. The driver I think will finish 24th in the NASCAR Cup Series points is going to be the driver of the 6 car for RFK, Brad Keselowski. A lot of people are expecting Brad Keselowski to really go from being about a 28th to 29th place driver or 25th place driver this past year up to being around a 15th, 16th place driver in 2023. I don't see that happening for Brad Keselowski, to be honest. Now, don't get me wrong, near the end of the year, Brad Keselowski really started showing a lot of signs of improvement being at the team. And Brad Keselowski is someone who's known to get the best out of equipment and has already won a championship. What I'm very worried for Brad Keselowski is, will RFK really take those next major steps that some people think they could? I think there's a chance they could because, like I said, near the end of the year, they were really showing some really good steps going forward. But I just don't know right now at this point if we're going to see those next major steps of Brad Keselowski. Now, I think Brad Keselowski is actually going to win a race near the end of the regular season. I think that's going to be at Daytona, but I don't think he makes the playoffs because there's going to be a lot of guys who are going to win, and I sadly think Keselowski doesn't make the playoffs. I think he wins first time with RFK to Super Speedway, but I think Keselowski is going to finish around 24th in points in 2023 and has a decent year with some top 5s and top 10s, but I think Keselowski will also struggle at points in 2023. The driver, I think, will finish 23rd in the NASCAR Cup Series standings in 2023 is Brad Keselowski's teammate and the driver, the number 17 for RFK Racing, Chris Buescher. Chris Buescher, very solid year in 2022. He got a win at Bristol and also had a lot of great runs on the road courses. I expect Chris Buescher to have a very similar year to what he had in 2022. I think he's going to be very fast on the road courses, be good on the short tracks, and be good on the super speedways. But I don't see Chris Buescher really taking that next step forward going into 2023. I don't think the equipment that he has is good enough right now to really take those next major steps forward. I think at points will be running into top 20 in the regular season standings, but I think near the end of the year, I think he's going to be falling back to 23rd, kind of near the middle of the pack in the points. Buescher is a very talented driver, don't get me wrong, but like I said, sadly, I think Chris Buescher is going to finish 23rd, gets a lot of top 5, gets some top 5s, gets quite a few top 10s, but I think he finishes near the mid-pack in points in 2023. The driver, I think, will finish 22nd in the NASCAR Cup Series points is a driver, the number 3 car for Richard Childress Racing, Austin Dillon. This might be a little bit of a hot take for Austin Dillon, considering Austin Dillon did get a win with Richard Childress Racing this past year, and I think a lot of people think that Austin Dillon is going to really improve with Kyle Busch being there. It's not that Austin Dillon, I think, is going to do terrible. I just think the 21 drivers in front of Austin Dillon are going to do better than him in the points. I think Austin Dillon, for a lot of this year, he's going to get quite a few top 5s. I think he's going to get quite a few top 10s throughout the season. But I also think a lot of this year, he's going to run around the 11th to 17th range, where he has a lot of top 15s, but will not be enough to get into the playoffs. I also think he won't win a race, which is one of the reasons why I think he'll finish near the mid-pack as well, because of that reason as well. Don't get me wrong, I think Austin Dillon's a really, really good driver. I just think right now that he's not going to reach that next level he's really going to need to reach, especially if he's going to make the playoffs in 2023. He's going to have to really take those next major steps. And sadly, I think he runs 22nd, gets some top 5s and top 10s, but I don't think he really has a really amazing season in 2023. The driver, I think, will finish 21st in the NASCAR Cup Series points in 2023 is a driver in the 54 car for Joe Gibbs Racing, Ty Gibbs. Man, this one might be very, very controversial because Ty Gibbs is a very, very young, talented driver. Just won the Xfinity Series Championship in 2022. And a lot of people think that Ty Gibbs is really going to have a great rookie year. I'm going to be honest with you. Ty Gibbs, I think he's very talented. Here's the problem. In the select starts he had in 2022, he struggled. He only got one top 10, and I'm not really expecting Ty Gibbs to completely step up to the plate and really do fantastic. He's taking over that 18, what the 18 used to be, and that 18 card near the end of the year was not the greatest team in the world. Granted, they were top 10 team at points, but I don't see Ty Gibbs really stepping up to the plate and doing fantastic. Now, I do think Ty Gibbs is going to get a couple top 5s and some top 10s in 2023, but I think most year he's going to be running around the top 15 range. And sadly, I think as a rookie, he's going to miss the playoffs as well. I just don't see Ty Gibbs really stepping up to the plate next year as a rookie and doing fantastic. Now, as the next couple years go on, I think Ty Gibbs will really generally improve, but I think sadly in 2023, he'll finish 21st in the NASCAR Cup Series points. The driver, I think, will finish 20th in the NASCAR Cup Series points in 2023 is a driver of the 41 car for Stewart-Haas Racing, Ryan Preece. Ryan Preece, of course, will be replacing Cole Custer in 2023 in the number 41 car. Ryan Preece, I expect to have a very solid year, but not enough to make the playoffs. I think he's going to get a lot of top fives, and I think he's going to get a lot of top tens as well. But I also think at points Ryan Preece is going to be inconsistent. And I'm very worried about Stewart-Haas Racing going into 2023 as well, because I'm not sure how Stewart-Haas Racing is going to perform. They're getting a team that's kind of been more mid-pack as of recently. I do think Ryan Preece, though, will get the best out of the equipment that he's in. Unfortunately, I just don't think it will be enough for him to do great. But I expect him to outshine Cole Custer in every statistical category. And maybe he wins, but I don't see him winning. But I think that Ryan Preece is going to have some struggles next year at points because of the 41 camp. And I don't see him going from being like that, getting that car for like 25th every week up to like, 10th or 11th in the standings. But I think 20th is very reasonable for Ryan Preece. And I think he finishes 20th in the NASCAR Cup Series points in 2023. The driver, I think, will finish 19th in the NASCAR Cup Series points in 2023 is Ryan Preece's teammate and the driver of the 14 car for Stewart-Haas Racing, Chase Briscoe. This one's also probably going to be a hot take because Chase Briscoe made it to the round of 8 in 2022. Here's the thing about Chase Briscoe, though. I think Chase Briscoe will get a win in 2023, and I think it comes near the end of the season. Here is the major problem for Chase Briscoe. Chase Briscoe, if I'm going to be honest with everybody, a lot of this past year in 2022 was around a 15th to 16th place driver most of the year. And let's be honest, he got lucky to make it to the round of 8. And if not for that win at Phoenix, he does not make it to the playoffs. He was not that great in 2022 outside of making it to the round of 8. And I'm just right now not sure if he's really going to step it up and have a great year. Like I said, I think he's going to win and get some top 5s and some top 10s. But sadly, I think in 2023, he does not make the playoffs. And I think he finishes 19th in the championship standings in 2023. The driver I think will finish 18th in the NASCAR Cup Series standings in 2023 is the driver of the 43 car for Petty GMS, Eric Jones. Eric Jones, I'm expecting to have a very similar year to 2022, where I think he's going to get a lot of top 5s, a lot of top 10s, and I think he'll be up front. I think he'll also get a win, unlike this past year, 2022. I think he's going to win at Talladega. Here's the thing I'm a little worried about is the consistency of the 43 camp. I'm a little nervous that Petty GMS may fall back a little bit more than they did in 2022, and some of these bigger teams are going to be able to catch up to those teams and pull away from them in the standings. That's what I'm a little bit nervous about for Eric Jones. But Eric Jones is a driver that always can get the best out of equipment, so I think he will be able to get the best out of equipment and run as well as he can throughout the 2023 season. I don't think he does enough to make the playoffs. I think he'll run around the 15th, 16th in the regular season standings, but I think with how competitive the field is going to be in this upcoming season, I don't think Eric Jones makes the playoffs, and I think he'll finish 18th, which is very respectful for Eric Jones. That'd be better than what he did in the 20 car, but I think Eric Jones finishes 18th in points in 2023. The driver, I think, will finish 17th in the NASCAR Cup Series standings. And the first driver who will not make the playoffs in 2023 is a driver of the 48 car for Hendrick Motorsports, Alex Bowman. This one is going to be a very big hot take for Alex Bowman because a lot of people think Alex Bowman is going to make the playoffs in 2023. Look, Alex Bowman has not missed the playoffs since joining Hendrick Motorsports in 2018. I'm nervous about Alex Bowman going into 2023. Now, granted, he's going to have a new crew chief, and that's going to be Blake Harris. Blake Harris, in my opinion, is a really, really good crew chief. But what I'm nervous about for Bowman is that I think you're going to have to win a race. I think he's going to be up front a lot next year, but like I said, I think he's going to be very similar to Martin Truex Jr., where Martin Truex Jr. did not make the playoffs because he didn't win. I think Bowman's going to win at the end of the year, but not early in the season and not enough to make the playoffs in 2023. I think Bowman runs well enough, though. He'll get a contract extension with Hendrick Motorsports because Alex Bowman is in a contract year with the Hendrick Motorsports group. I think this is a very big hot take that Bowman misses the playoffs, but I think that Alex Bowman sadly missed the playoffs in 2023, but finishes 17th in points because I think he's going to be a top 10 consistency in points, but I think sadly Bowman will not win a race early enough to make it to the playoffs, so I think Bowman finishes 17th in the standings in 2023 and the best of the rest. The driver I think will finish 16th in the NASCAR Cup Series standings in 2023 is a driver 16 car for Kaulig Racing, AJ Allmendinger. I'm expecting AJ Allmendinger to have a really good year in 2023. I'm not expecting AJ to be a championship threat by any stretch of imagination because Kaulig Racing has not shown at this point that they can be a championship caliber team. But I think AJ is going to win a race in 2023. I can't remember exactly which race I picked him to win. I think it was Indy Road Course is the one I picked him to win. But he's going to be fast at a lot of other types of tracks. He's going to be fast at super speedways because college racing tends to be great at super speedways. He's going to be really fast, I think, on the short tracks. He's been really good at the short tracks throughout his career, especially in Martinsville. And he's been really good at the road courses as well. So I think AJ is going to have a very solid year heading into the 2023 season. And in addition to that, I think he could be a surprise round of 8 or round of 12 contender, but I think he unfortunately gets limited in the round of 16, but I think he finishes 16th in the standings. The driver I think will finish 15th in the NASCAR Cup Series standings in 2023 is a driver of the 2 car for Team Penske, Austin Cindric. Austin Cindric's rookie year was absolutely outstanding for his standards. He got a win in the Daytona 500 in 2022. Now, some people think Cindric is really going to take massive steps forward. I don't expect Cindric to take massive steps forward. I expect him to perform very similar to what he did in 2022, where I think he'll get a win at the Chicago Street Course to make the playoffs, and I think he'll be around an 8th to 12th place driver for a lot of the year, and I think he'll show some really strong consistency. We'll have one of the 10 best averages throughout the year. His thing that I think is going to hurt him is a lack of stage points, and I think he's not going to leave a ton of laps in 2023. But I think Cindric, though, regardless, will have a very good year in that number 2 car. I think eventually he is going to become a championship caliber threat. I just don't expect it in 2023, but maybe in 2024, especially with some of the guys that could end up retiring. Maybe talk about Cindric being a championship threat in the not-so-distant future, but I think he finishes 15th in the points in 2023. The driver I think will finish 14th in the NASCAR Cup Series standings in 2023 is the driver of the 19 car for Joe Gibbs Racing, Martin Truex Jr. I'm expecting Martin Truex Jr. to make the playoffs in 2023 compared to 2022, where he didn't make the playoffs, because I think Martin Truex Jr., I believe I picked him to win at Martinsville, so he will make the playoffs in 2023. But I think MTJ speed is going to be less there. Plus, I'm expecting Joe Gibbs Racing to have a little bit of a downward trend where I think they're going to struggle a little bit more than they have in the past. And I think if you're going to want to be a championship threat, like some people think Martin Truex Jr. could be, you got to have the pace and speed if you're in a Joe Gibbs Racing car. And I'm not expecting Martin Truex Jr. to have the championship caliber pace and speed in 2023. But I think 14th, considering where he was last year, where he didn't make the playoffs, is in battle things considered, and I think he makes it to the playoffs, but I expect some struggles from Martin Truex Jr. with next year, of course, could be potentially his last season in the Cup Series. We may see it be it for Martin, but I think he will finish 14th in the standings in 2023. The driver I think will finish 13th in the NASCAR Cup Series standings in 2023 is a driver of the number 23 car for 2311 Racing, Bubba Wallace. Man, this one is going to be a hot take because a lot of people do not like Bubba Wallace. Whether they like Bubba Wallace or not, Bubba Wallace in 2022, from the start to the end of the year, showed massive, massive improvement. And in the last years, he has done that where he struggled in the beginning of each year and finished great at the end of the year. I think Bubba Wallace in 2023 is not only going to start off good, but I think he's going to finish the season really good as well. I think he's going to win 2 races in 2023. Here's his biggest downfall, though, and I think it's going to be a little bit of a lack of consistency. But I think for most of the year, he will be very consistent. I just think the lack of stage points is going to hurt Bubba Wallace. And when you're in 2 races, you would probably think he make it out of the round of 16 and make it to the round of 12. I just think the 12 drivers ahead of him are going to run better than he will in 2023. But I think that we're going to see Bubba Wallace have his best year to date, and I think he'll get a couple wins in 2023. I expect some pretty big things from Bubba Wallace, and I think he will have a good year in 2023. The driver I think will finish 12th in the NASCAR Cup Series standings in 2023 is a driver of the number 99 car for Trackhouse Racing, Daniel Suarez. Daniel Suarez had a really strong year in 2022. And I think in 2023, he's only going to improve. Now, the reason I have Daniel Suarez finishing 12th is I think Suarez finished around 11th or 10th in the standings in 2022 is because I think there are 11 drivers that are going to run better than Daniel Suarez throughout the year. But I think Suarez is going to be more competitive and more closer to his teammate Ross Chastain because Ross Chastain in 2022 did outshine Suarez just a little bit there. But I think in 2023, we are going to see Daniel Suarez have a pretty big season and have a career year up to this point. Now, I only think he gets 1 win, But I think consistency-wise, he's going to have a very, very good season and makes it to the round of 12 with a 12th place points finish. I think that's pretty good for Suarez, all things considered. And I think Suarez will finish 12th in the NASCAR Cup Series standings in 2023. The driver I think will finish 11th in the NASCAR Cup Series standings in 2023 is a driver of the number 4 car for Stewart-Haas Racing, Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick, I'm expecting to have one of his worst career years at Stewart-Haas Racing up to this point. And for him to be 11th, that's still a pretty solid year. But I have a feeling Kevin Harvick in 2023 is going to be taking a step backwards in the performance. He's a great driver, one of the greatest NASCAR drivers of all time, don't get me wrong. Here's the thing. I'm not expecting Kevin Harvick to really have, like I said, I think he's going to have a little bit of a down year compared to previous seasons. I think he wins at Richmond in the fall, or actually near the fall or near the playoffs, but I don't expect Kevin Harvick to be up front as consistently, and I think he'll have some struggles. I think Kevin Harvick gets a lot of top 5s and a lot of top 10s this upcoming season, but I think Kevin Harvick gets limited in the round of 12. And also, my prediction is that Kevin Harvick is going to announce retirement from full-time NASCAR Cup Series racing at the end of this upcoming season. But I think we're going to see Kevin Harvick finish 11th in the NASCAR Cup Series standings in the 2023 season. The driver I think will finish 10th in the NASCAR Cup Series standings in 2023 is a driver of the 11 car for Joe Gibbs Racing, Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin had an up and down 2022, and I expect 2023 to be, though, a little bit better than what he had in 2022. However, I think Denny Hamlin is going to win one less race in 2022-3 and only score one victory. I also expect Denny Hamlin to be a little bit less consistent than he was at the end of the year, and I think that is going to hurt Denny Hamlin in the long run in the 2023 season. It probably will hurt him, and I think it actually will hurt him in 2023. Denny's a driver, though, and I said with Martin Truex Jr., I think JGR is also going to have a little bit of a down year for their performance in standards, but Hamlin still will be solid, and I think Denny Hamlin will finish 10th in the points, which, again, will make him to the round of 12. I think Hamlin would love to make it to the championship 4 again and try to win his first title, but I think Hamlin's going to also start dropping in performance a little bit in 2023, but 10th place in points is pretty good, all things considered, and I think he finishes 10th in points. The driver I think will finish 9th in the NASCAR Cup Series standings in 2023 is a driver of the 24 car for Hendrick Motorsports, William Byron. William Byron's going to have a lot of high expectations going into 2023, and he's going to be expected to step up in a major way. I think William Byron's going to win 1 or 2 races in 2023, but I don't see William Byron really taking that next major step. He's not like Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott who've taken those next major steps. Byron has not reached that level yet, and I think as the time goes on, he is eventually going to reach that level where he's eventually going to be able to take those next major steps. Like I said to William Byron, though, he hasn't taken those major steps. However, though, he's going to have a lot more top 5s and top 10s. He struggled with top 5s and top 10s, especially during the summer stretch. He struggled to get top 5s and top 10s. But I do think in 2023, he'll show consistency. But I just think, sadly, going into the 2023 season, I don't expect William Byron to really just have that major step up in performance. I think he will finish 9th in points still and just miss out on making it to the round of 8 in 2023. The driver I think will finish 8th in the NASCAR Cup Series standings in 2023 is a driver of the 12th car for Team Penske, Ryan Blaney. For most year in 2023, I think Ryan Blaney is going to be consistently a top 5 or top 6 driver in the regular season standings, a top contender for the regular season standings. But I feel like Ryan Blaney is going to have some of the same struggles, except this time in 2023, I think he's going to win 1 or 2 races, which will help him. Ryan Blaney showed a lot of pace and speed in 2022. That 12th car was actually a legitimate championship 4 contender, but the problem is Ryan Blaney, very similar to Martin Truex Jr., he failed to win a race in 2022 for the first time since 2016. So Ryan Blaney, I think, will get back to victory lane in the 2023 season. And honestly, I think he does want to get back to victory lane and win. But like I said with Ryan Blaney, he's not at that championship level yet. He hasn't reached that level. And can he do it? We'll have to wait and see. But I think Ryan Blaney does not reach championship level. But 8th in standings is still a pretty solid year for Ryan Blaney in 2023. The driver I think will finish 7th in the NASCAR Cup Series standings in 2023 is the driver of the number 22 car for Team Penske, Joey Logano. Joey Logano, of course, is coming off of winning the 2022 NASCAR Cup Series Championship, picking up his 2nd NASCAR Cup Series Championship. I think some people are expecting Logano to really have a major fall. I don't think Joey Logano is going to have a major fall per se going into 2023, but I don't expect Logano to be up front as much. But I do think Joey Logano is going to get 1 or 2 victories in 2023. I also think he's going to win the inaugural race at North Wilkesboro, and I think he also wins, I believe, in the spring at Las Vegas as well. I think he have him winning the spring race at Las Vegas. Logano's a little bit downward fall, like I said, is going to be the fact that I think Penske is going to take a few steps backwards and not be the top dog team like they may have been in 2022, where, of course, they won the Cup Series championship. I think Logano, though, is going to have a good year regardless in 2023, but sadly, I don't think he has a championship caliber season, but I think he will finish 7th in the standings in 2023. The driver I think will finish 6th in the NASCAR Cup Series standings in 2023 is a driver of the 20 car for Joe Gibbs Racing, Christopher Bell. I think Christopher Bell is by far going to be the best performer at Joe Gibbs Racing in 2023. He was by far the best driver at Joe Gibbs Racing in 2022. I think of how much commitment Joe Gibbs and JJR has to Christopher Bell, he's going to continue to be the best performing driver. He's a really great talent. He's a really great driver. But I sadly don't see Christopher Bell making it to the championship 4. I don't think he's going to be as clutch in 2023 as he was in 2022. And I think only in 2023, I think he's only going to end up scoring 1 victory this season. I've got him winning New Hampshire. I just sadly don't see Christopher Bell winning a lot, and I think the lack of stage points is going to hurt him throughout the season in 2023. But I do think Christopher Bell will still have a good year, and I think he will be the best performing Joe Gibbs Racing driver. He won't be even the best Toyota performer in 2023, because up next we'll talk about the guy here in a second. But I think Christopher Bell will end up finishing 6th in the standings, which is still a really great season regardless, but I don't see Christopher Bell making the championship 4 in 2023. The driver, I think, will round out the top 5 and finish 5th in the NASCAR Cup Series standings in 2023 is a driver of the 45 car for 2311 Racing, Tyler Reddick. A lot of people have really high expectations for Tyler Reddick going into 2023, and there's a lot of good reasons behind that. In 2022, Tyler Reddick had a massive breakout season, scoring 3 victories and unfortunately eliminated in the round of 16. But had he been able to sit in and basically be for a championship, or basically not got eliminated in the round of 16 because of a tire issue at Kansas that was something out of his control, Tyler Reddick would have been a championship threat and might have made it to the championship 4, and honestly could have potentially won the championship because he was really fast at Phoenix in the spring. Now, I think he's going to win 2 or 3 races in 2023, but be one of the championship threats. I really think he's going to be an outside championship contender, and I think he will be absolutely one to watch with the 2311 Racing camp, and with also working with Kurt Busch next year to mentor him and guide him throughout the season, because Kurt Busch is still going to be with the team. I really think that's going to help the aggression. I think the consistency is really going to be there for Tyler Reddick, because he was definitely inconsistent throughout the year, but I think Tyler Reddick is still going to have a great year regardless, and I think he's going to finish 5th in the NASCAR Cup Series standings in 2023. The driver, I think, will finish 4th in the NASCAR Cup Series standings, and the first driver in the championship 4 is the driver of the 8 car for Richard Childress Racing, Kyle Busch. This one is absolutely going to be bold going into 2023, because Kyle Busch, of course, leaving Joe Gibbs Racing at the end of 2022 to drive the number 8 car full-time for Richard Childress Racing. But hear me out why I've got Kyle Busch making the championship 4. Kyle Busch is a driver that always can get the best out of equipment. And remember when he left Hendrick Motorsports to go to Joe Gibbs Racing? He took that 18 car, which was struggling for those 4 or 5 years before he got there, and won 8 races. Granted, the playoffs weren't that good, but he ended up having a great season. I'm expecting Kyle Busch to get into that car and be really strong. And also, let's also not forget the fact that Tyler Reddick got 3 wins in this car and could have been a championship threat. And no disrespect to Tyler Reddick, but I think Kyle Busch is still to this day a better driver than Tyler Reddick. I think Kyle Busch is going to have a lot of pressure. He's a really hungry driver to go out there and win races. And I really think that's going to play a major factor in helping Kyle Busch be a legit championship threat. I think Kyle Busch makes it to the Final 4 with a really strong year, shows a lot of great consistency, a lot of great pace and speed, and I think Kyle Busch, like I said, is going to have a fantastic season, where I think he finishes 4th in the standings and makes a championship 4. I don't have him winning the championship. I think that's a stretch, but I think Kyle Busch finishes 4th in points in 2023. The driver I think will finish third in the NASCAR Cup Series standings in 2023 is a driver of the one car for Trackhouse Racing, Ross Chastain. Like I said with Daniel Suarez, a lot of people are going to be expecting Ross Chastain to fall off from his 2022 ways. And I 100% disagree with those fans that think that Ross Chastain is going to fall off. Trackhouse is here to stay, and I think that they're going to become a formidable contender for many years to come. I can see him winning a championship as early as 2023. But I don't think Chastain's going to get the championship, but I think just like 2022, he's going to make the championship 4. And unlike 2022, I think he makes less enemies on the racetrack. I think he's going to still show a lot of that aggression that Ross Chastain has, because that's the kind of driver he has. And he's going to have that no-gives attitude where he's not going to care and he's going to race as aggressive as possible. But I think he will tone it down at points as well throughout the year, and I think he's going to win 2 races throughout the 2023 season as well. And I think he's just going to have a really great year in 2023. I expect big things from Chastain again heading into 2023, and I think easily Ross Chastain will make the Final 4 and finish third in the NASCAR Cup Series standings. I think he has a great year and finishes third in the Cup Series points. The driver I think will finish second and runner-up in the NASCAR Cup Series standings in 2023 is the driver in the 9 car for Hendrick Motorsports, Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott for most of 2022 was definitely the best driver. He just, I think, is going to miss out on winning the championship, though, in 2023. He's going to be absolute championship threat like he was in 2022. He was very strong throughout the year, won 5 races in 2022, and I think he's going to win 5 races again in 2023. I think he matches the numbers that he got in 2022. He was really good in 2022, and like I said, I think he's going to have a fantastic year like he did in 2023. But I think he just misses out on winning the championship. He has a great year, going to win a lot of races, and I expect massive things, like I said, for Chase Elliott. This 9 team has shown improvement. I think Chase is also going to show that consistency, and unlike 2022 where they fell off in the playoffs, Chase Elliott is going to step up and do absolutely killer and absolutely fantastic throughout the season, where I think Chase Elliott is going to be very fun to watch. Again, scores 5 victories, and I think Chase Elliott easily makes the championship 4, but just misses out on winning the championship. So, the driver I not only think will be the best driver in 2023, but the driver of the 500 Motorsports and the champion in 2023, I have Kyle Larson winning the championship in 2023. Now, a lot of people are going to say, oh, you're just a Kyle Larson fanboy. You always pick Kyle Larson to win these championships. Did that last year with your winner's prediction. And yeah, you're definitely right that I've got Kyle Larson winning the championship. And yes, I'm a huge Kyle Larson fan. But hear me out why I've got Kyle Larson winning the championship. It's not just because of the fact that I think Kyle Larson is a really great and really awesome talent. Kyle Larson near the end of 2022 really had a major resurgence. In the last 2 races of the year, Kyle Larson won at Homestead. He also finished second at Martinsville and also had a chance to win at Phoenix before his crew chief Cliff Daniels made a mistake. If not for what happened at the Charles Roval, Kyle Larson makes the championship 4, and he's competing for a championship at Phoenix, maybe over Chase Elliott. I think in 2023, Kyle Larson is going to score 6 victories, which is the most. So I'm not predicting someone's going to win like 10 or 15 races, but I think Larson's going to win 6 races, and I think in 2023, he is going to win his 2nd championship in the last 3 years. He's going to become the best driver, Hendrick, with Chase right behind him. And I think Kyle Larson is going to have a fantastic year, and I think he will finish first and be your 2023 NASCAR Cup Series champion in 2023. So, that is for today's NASCAR video and special video. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe to the channel, notifications on, be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, as for me on Patreon as well. Links are below that, and comment your thoughts on today's video. Tell me where you rank everybody, and tell me where you think every driver will finish in the NASCAR Cup Series standings in 2023. Let me know that in the comments below. Tomorrow on my channel, we may have a special video coming out. We may have a news video coming out. We also have a special video dropping on the channel. And after that, we're going to be going on Christmas break as well. We're not sure when the video on Friday will come up. It depends on how the weather is, because we're supposed to get a lot of weather later today. We'll see what happens, though. And we've got that content dropping here. And we got a lot of content at the end of the year as well for you guys. So anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for some more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.